Hey guys, what's up? So, yeah, I'm here to do a tier list. I am going to do another one later, which will be on the 4th. This one's going to be premiering today, but the other one I do have planned for uh, the 4th and everything. But, excuse me. Here I wanted to do an 80s cartoon tier list because recently I've been kind of, going back and forth on YouTube and looking at some 80s cartoons and everything. There's Michael Mercy, or Merce, Marco Merce, if you will, that does, the 80s Cartoon Museum and all that, and does reviews there too. And then, of course, you got Secret Galaxy and all them that do their thing. And also you got like Retro Crush, what is it? Not Crush, but Crunch, as well as other people that have put together and put together in compilations 80 cartoon intros and as well as playlists and everything. And it kind of got me thinking, and wondering if there was any like tier list out there for 80s cartoons, and lo and behold, there is. In fact, there's even a community ranking of cartoon lists and all that, that were made through the tier maker. And since I haven't really done a tier maker video in a while, I figured I'd do one here, and then, like I said, one later on for the July 4th on Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons might be a lot of what you see here, but hopefully not. Maybe might be a little different. But this is basically ranking, like, from my experience, and I'm sure others have done this too, the cartoons I used to watch or grew up with in the 80s, because I was born on July 25th, 1979. So I'm basically a little over a month away from my birthday, about 40 days, from turning, believe it or not, 44. Yeah, 44. That's hard to believe. But anyway, long story short, I grew up on a lot of these cartoons. Some of them I watched, some of them I didn't know even were around until later on. So, yeah, basically this is just going to be a list of those that I watched. And as you can see, these are the categories that I have them in. Like the first one, of course, which would be S tier, is was a must watched. The second one is watched when it was on, had fun watching it. And then the fourth one is watched it when nothing else was on. The other one is me and my sisters watched as kids. Didn't watch as much, which is the next one. And wasn't my cup of tea. And then the last one is didn't know it was on or was too young to remember. In other words, being like 2-3 years old, couldn't really focus on cartoons that much, or even kind of watch and keep memory in my brain and all that of them when I was a kid. And this, of course, is the list of cartoons that were made up by some of the people that originally made the list and everything. So, yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at what we have here and everything. So, right here, we're going to start with Maxine's World. And I didn't even know it was on, or too young to remember, but even if I did, as a kid back then, just wouldn't be my cup of tea. It's one of those times where you could definitely tell they were going old girly, trying to, succeed when, trying to capitalize on a certain other show's momentum that we'll get to in a moment. Care Bears, of course, I watched when I was a kid. It was watched when it was on. It wasn't a must watch or anything, but I watched it when it was on. Real Ghostbusters, of course. Me and my sisters, we watched that together. That's going right there. It could go into was a must watch, but it's going to be basically in the category of me and my sisters watched as kids. It was one that we'd watch all together. Silverhawks, oh yeah, I watched that, and to me that was watched it when it was on, no doubt. So is that. Laser Tag, didn't know it was on or anything. Was too young to remember because there was so much going on. This here, I can't even tell which one that is. It looks like it says Moondance. Yeah, that wasn't my cup of tea either. Gem, of course, watched that with me and my sisters. We watched that together. So that was something that we watched. Mostly me and my older sister. My older sister Well, I'm gonna say I had fun watching it as a kid, so I'll put it up there. But it was something that me and my sisters also watched as kids. So, excuse me. So you can look at it that way. Centurions, of course, I did watch when that was on. I watched it when it was on. So, and I had some of the Centurion toys, or at least one of them anyway. Foofer, didn't watch as much. It goes right into it. So yeah, I didn't watch it as much. I knew it was on, but didn't know. RoboCop, it's one of those that didn't watch as much, and knew it was on, but didn't watch as much. Punky Brewster, I'll put in the category of me and my sisters. We watched it, but didn't, didn't. Me and my sisters watched it and everything, so I'll put it on there. Galatar, didn't know it was on. Basically, it was too young, so I think since it was on everything else, so I'll put it right there. Garfield and Friends, oh yeah, that was a must-watch. That was definitely a must-watch. That's our first one. Excuse me. That was definitely a must-watch. My Pet Monster, I watched it when nothing else was on. I mean, it was okay and everything. Thundarr the Barbarian, didn't know it was on or anything, so I'm going to put that right here. Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats, of course, that's a must-watch in my opinion, so that's the second one we're going to put up here. Muppet Babies, of course, that's something me and my sisters watched together as kids, so I'll put it there. Beetlejuice, again, that's something me and my sisters watched, but I can also say I had fun watching it, even though it was my older sister's kind of cup of tea. Mask, I remember that because believe it or not, this is going to be hard to believe, I had the big Rhino truck when I was a kid, if I remember correctly. I had that. Now I have, courtesy of eBay, the T-Hawk, if you will. Got to give a shout out to Michael Mercer, for doing, when he did his review on that. That's kind of inspired me to get it. Thundercats, of course, I watched that. That was a must-watch for me, even though it came on at times where other shows were coming on. I think it was coming on at a time when me and my mom were just finishing homeschooling. She was homeschooling me at the time. Defenders of the Earth, didn't know, I'll put it this way, I didn't know it was on or anything, so yeah, didn't know it was on. I was too young to remember. This one, I'm going to say it wouldn't have been my cup of tea or anything. Paddington Bear, yeah, I'll put it right there in the didn't watch as much category because I knew it was on, but didn't watch it as much. Legend of Zelda, of course, part of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Had fun watching it, enjoyed it. Ewoks, I do remember, but I didn't watch it as much and everything, but I did watch it. The Littles, yes, definitely watched that. So I'll put that up here with the watched it when it was on. I do remember that. Rainbow Bright, didn't watch it. I don't know exactly where to put it. I'll probably put it here because it was something I would watch with my sisters. Alf, I do remember, but I didn't watch as much, so I'm gonna put that here. Dink the Little Dinosaur, I didn't know it was on until later on and everything. I looked it up and I was like, oh, this was on CBS. So yeah, I didn't know it was on. It was too young to remember, so I'll put that there. Snoopy and Charlie Brown, I'll put it this way. I watched it basically when nothing else was on. What's this one? This one I would definitely say I didn't know it was on, so I'll put that there. Popples, didn't watch as much. I'll put it there. Captain N, the Game Master, yeah, I had fun watching that as a kid, so I'll put that there. She-Ra, Princess of Power, yeah, I'll put it right here. I like how this just makes it land where I'm gonna probably put it. Me and my sisters watched as kids. What's this one? Saber Rider. I didn't know it was on, but from what I could tell, it's got that anime history to it, to where it was an anime in Japan, and now and then it was brought over and given kind of an 80s aesthetic, and you can kind of tell that, you can kind of tell that there were certain shows, certain shows on during the 80s that were anime based, but they were specifically made for the West Coast, but first they aired in Japan and then brought over here. So you could definitely tell certain animes and everything that had a West Coast flavor to it and everything. So you could definitely see that. Alvin and the Chipmunks, yes, did watch that. Had fun. I watched it when it was on, so gonna put it there. Robotech, yes, I remember watching that. Watched it. I had fun watching it. I'll put it there. I remember that was on TBS. I know that. That was one of the shows TBS had. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course. That is definitely was a must watch. So I'm going to put that up here. Dinosaurs, didn't watch as much, but I knew it was on. Jason the Wheel Warriors, yes. I watched that, and believe it or not, I watched it when it was on and everything, but I'm going to put it up here because it was one of those shows that, for me as a kid in the 80s, was a must-watch. Raggedy Ann and Andy, it was one of those shows that I watched with my sisters when we were a kid. Teddy Ruxpin, being a young kid, and of course, them pushing Teddy Ruxpin as the talking bear and everything, I did watch it, but I only watched it when nothing else was on. Police Academy, the series. I think it was one of the shows that I didn't watch as much. This one here, I'm gonna say didn't know it was on. Inhumanoids. I just looking at it and knowing about it years later, I knew it existed. So I'm gonna say I didn't watch it as much, mainly because of what it was at times. This one I didn't know was on, so I'm gonna put that here. Black Star, same thing. Didn't know it was on until later, because that was like an early 80s show. Pound Puppies, yes. That was one me and my sisters watched. So that's going to go there. Smurfs, yes. That was a must-watch for both me and my sisters. So I'm going to put that there. Pup Named Scooby-Doo, yes. We did watch it. Oh, I did watch it. Had fun watching it. I did have fun watching it. Kid Video, didn't know it was on, even though it was on during the rise of MTV. So I'm gonna say that it was didn't know it was on. Too young to remember. Same with Visionaries. Visionaries I didn't even know existed. So I'll put that here. Mighty Orbots. Excuse me. Mighty Orbots I think was one of the shows that I knew about, but couldn't remember until somebody put the intro up and they were talking about it, and I was like, oh, okay, I do remember that. It was one of the shows I didn't watch as much because I think it was like on I think it was on, what was it, Channel 26 in the Bay Area. So that was that. That was probably the reason. This one I didn't know was on, so I'll put that there. Denver, the Last Dinosaur, yes, that was, for me, that was a must-watch. Denver, the Last Dinosaur was a must-watch for me. G.I. Joe, same thing. Same thing. And I've talked about this before as a kid. Basically when me and my sisters were kids, we had like a block of cartoons, after school or in the afternoon, where it'd be like they had their shows and then I had my shows, stuff like that. And I do apologize for that notification there I got from Facebook. I do apologize for that. But yeah, it was one of those times where G.I. Joe would come on later along with Transformers, and then before there was like Gem and My Little Pony and all that. So yeah, it was definitely it was basically definitely, like I say, a must watch for me. Wuzzles had fun watching that. So Wuzzles is gonna go right there. Ulysses 31, didn't know that was on, so we're gonna go there. California Raisins, it wasn't my cup of tea that much. I knew it was on, but I didn't watch it as much, so it really wasn't my cup of tea. Galaxy High School, I'm gonna say I didn't know it existed until later on. He-Man Masters of the Universe, yes, that was a must-watch. That was definitely a must-watch for me, as a kid, despite, its presentation. What's this one? Oh, Wildfire. I was too young to remember that because that was like an it was an early 80s shows and everything, so I didn't really know about that. Dungeons and Dragons. This is what's interesting. I didn't watch that as much because honestly I couldn't, and everything. As a matter of fact, going back to a story from several years ago when me and my mom were still living in Patterson, as I get myself some 7-Up here. But when me and my mom, we're living in Patterson, basically, one of the people that liked sending me and Zara Nizarak and David Bunch of Numbers and Skin Slip and all of us packages, one of those people, I think the nickname was Ingram or something. He meant well. He meant well and everything. But what happened is he sent me a package, and it showed up on a Saturday, and I think it was during the summer, ironically, that we're now heading into. But it was on a Saturday, and I got the package, and he said he was sending it to me. And my mom was up, and she wanted to know what it was because, had it come earlier in the week, be honest with you, I don't think I would have had trouble. But she wanted to know what it was, and, I was thinking, well, I could tell her, could not, but, eventually, she's going to find out. She's going to want to know. Because let's say if I'm working, which I was at that time, I believe, at Walmart, she was going to probably, go in my room, clean, kind of sweep a little bit, but also look around, and then maybe notice, the Dungeons and Dragons DVD set in my collection, and knowing her, in her history, I would have come home and noticed that it was missing, and then she would have told me, and then she would have confronted me about it, or at least talked to me about it, and explained that she just threw it out because of all the historical supernaturalness that came with its, reputation from the 80s and everything. And that's what she had me do when I showed her, because I'm like, it's either I show her now and see what happens, or she finds out on her own. So I showed her, and she said, get rid of it, in the garbage, down it goes. And that's what happened. And I had to apologize to Ingram because basically I didn't tell him that, well, he didn't tell me what he was sending, but I should have informed him that, yeah, this is not going to work and everything. And that's why I'm always careful with Frank when it comes to Frank Hill. It's Frank who I appreciate sending me stuff, along with sending people like Zara Nizarak and other stuff. I appreciate him doing what he can, but this is why I'm always advising him or anybody else that sends packages and all that to be careful what you send, or ask first, before you send something, because you might not know if on the other side you have, people that you're sending a package to who has family that may be against certain things that you want to send them. So yeah, again, like I said, what happened is I had to throw it out and everything, but the reason it relates to this, what I'm saying, is because it was one of those shows that I watched but didn't watch as much because of what it was and its reputation. So yeah, basically I just I just couldn't have it around, if you will, if you kind of understand that. But yeah, that's why didn't watch as much. Okay, we have another Heathcliff here. Obviously they had two of them, so I'm gonna put that in this category right under it. Watched it when it was on. It was a must watch, and I watched it when it was on, so we'll put it there. DuckTales, yes. That was I had fun watching it show. My Little Pony, G1. I'm gonna say it was something me and my sisters watched. And the reason it attracted me back when I was a kid was because they started advertising Big Brother ponies, and I'm thinking, oh, they got boy ponies now, boy toys, goody, And of course they had the young brother in there as well, so that kind of helped out a little bit. and everything, and then watching it a little bit in reruns on Disney Channel along with My Little Ponytails back when I was in high school. Because there was not really much else on during the summer. With Disney Channel, I kind of enjoyed it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I think some of that modern inspiration that Lauren Faust got for G4, some of that came from G2, which was My Little Ponytails. Glow Friends, I know that was connected to ponies and everything, but that was not my cup of tea. Transformers, though, was my cup of tea. There was not one day, and I'm going to put that right up here in the front, not one day that I did not go without watching Transformers. There was not one day. Every day I would watch it. When it went to Saturdays and Sundays, I would watch it. There was no stopping me in watching Transformers. That's how much of a fan I was and still am to this day. Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. I didn't know it was on. I wasn't too young, but I didn't know it was on. So I'll put that there. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Oh yeah, this is definitely a must-watch. So we're going to put that over here in the must-watch category, if you will. So there we go. Brave Star. I didn't watch as much. I knew it was on, but I didn't watch it as much. Pawpaws. I'll put it this way. I watched it when nothing else was on, but actually, if I remember correctly, I had fun watching it. I was a little kid when it came out, but I had fun watching it. Dino Riders, I do remember it was on, but I didn't watch it as much, if you will. And that's getting big. You can definitely tell. Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters, yeah, I watched it when nothing else was on. It was a downgrade to me for Ghostbusters. Pole Position, I didn't know it was on that much, so I'll put that there. Spectors, didn't know that was on either, so I'll put that there. That's becoming big. Tiger Sharks. I think I did see a little bit of it, so I'll put that there. And everything. Beverly Hills Teens was not my cup of tea. Voltron, yes, that was a must-watch. That was a must-watch. And you want to know how big of a fan I was? And I think I've talked about this before. Back when I was a kid, and I have a picture of this as well. My family, for Christmas, got me, or Santa, a.k.a. my parents, got me the Lion Force racetrack. The one that you had the little controllers that you would plug in to the track, and you would control the lions like that. They got me that when I was a kid, and I don't know what happened to it, but thankfully, in the past decade almost a decade, I got it back through eBay and stuff. So yeah, I had that, as well as I had a Voltron dartboard with those little Velcro dart balls that you would throw at it. So I had that. So that shows you how much of a fan I was. I still am. New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I think it was something me and my sisters watched as we were kids, so I'll put that there. Get Along Gang, yes, I watched that, and I had fun watching it, even when they did replays for it. Teen Wolf, didn't watch as much. Gummy Bears, yes, was a good one we saw, and I think that's definitely going into the must-watch category. Spiral Zone, I didn't know it was on, so I'll put that here. Tom and Jerry, yeah, I did watch that as a kid. So I think that watched it when it was on category. Bionic 6, I think I watched it, but I think I knew it was on, but didn't watch it as much. Who's this? Oh, this was not my cup of tea. No. Dragon's Lair. Yeah, I knew it was on, but didn't watch it as much and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this 80s cartoon tier list that you'll be seeing a little bit. But yeah, here we have the categories as they are, and some of them are bigger than usual, and you might be saying, man, how did you not know some of those were on? Here's the thing. When you get homeschooled and everything as a kid, you have to spend hours learning, so you're going to miss out on a lot. You're going to miss out on a lot. So yeah, I didn't. So the ones I knew about came on at times that I was able to watch them. But yeah, so here's the category here. The must-watches were Transformers, Garfield and Friends, Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats, Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Jason the Will Warriors, Denver the Last Dinosaur, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Rescue Rangers, Voltron, and Gummy Bears. Watched when it was on, Care Bears, Silverhawks, Centurions, Mask, Littles, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Heathcliff, of course, just like with Was a Must Watch, and Tom and Jerry. Had fun watching, Jem, Beetlejuice, Zelda, Captain N, the Game Master, Robotech, Scooby-Doo, pup named Scooby-Doo, Wuzzles, DuckTales, Paw-Paws, Get Along Gang. Watched it when nothing else was on. My Pet Monster, Charlie Brown Snoopy, Teddy Ruxpin, Slimer. Me and my sisters watched as kids. Real Ghostbusters, Punky Brewster, Muppet Babies, Rainbow Bright, She-Ra, Princess of Power, Raggedy Ann and Andy, Pound Puppies, Smurfs, Winnie the Pooh, and My Little Pony. Didn't watch as much. Foofer, Robocop, Paddington Bear, Ewoks, Alf, Popples, Dinosaurs, Police Academy, Inhumanoids, Mighty Orbots, Dungeons and Dragons, because of the reasons I mentioned, Brave Star, Dino Riders, Tiger Sharks, Teen Wolf, Bionic 6, and Dragon Slayer. Wasn't my cup of tea, Maxine, and a few of these Glowworms, California Raisins, Beverly Hills Teens, and whatever this one is. And didn't know it was on, or was too young to remember. Laser Tag, Galatar, Thundar, Defenders of the Earth, Dink, whatever this show is, Saber Rider, I think this is Little Clowns right here, and whatever this one, Tale of Tales, Black Star, Kid Video, Visionaries, whichever one that is, Ulysses 31, Galaxy High School, Wildfire, Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, Pole Position, Sectors, and Spiral Zone. And those are pretty much it. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. I'll provide a link if you guys want to try it out yourselves and everything in the future. But give me your thoughts overall. Do you agree with some of this list? Let me know in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere, where Super Chats will indeed be open if you want to help donate there. I'll put that in the description. But guys, let me know, and until next time, I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.